Good morning, everybody. It's Mark Schultz here, and we are here with another live edition of Recovery in Aviation. But today we're focusing specifically on growth in aerospace and growth in manufacturing. This is going to be a really exciting event, and I have my co-host today. We're going to bring him in with Northwest Aerospace News. I got Dean Cameron. Good morning, Dean.
Good morning, Mark. How are you this morning?
I'm doing fine. Dean, where are you located today?
I'm home in Spokane, working out of my very comfortable home office.
Okay, all right. Very good. Well, I'm really glad to have you here today. Listen, Northwest Aerospace News is a magazine, is a production, which they produce content, digital content, magazines and videos and marketing for manufacturers in the Pacific Northwest. And so that's why I have Dean on, and we focus on these specific manufacturing interviews that we're doing, because we want to really help people to be able to get their message out about what they're doing in the industry. Dean, it's a pretty exciting time in the industry right now, isn't it, for manufacturers?
You know, it really is. And, there's a lot of speculation as to what the health is or the lack of thereof. But there's a lot of opportunities. I mean, right now, things are just, it's incredible, the growth in technology and how that's influencing the industry. And these are three great companies that we're going to talk to today that have a big hand in that.
Yeah, we're going to jump right into it in a minute, but let me just tell you, I want all of you to engage in this conversation. You actually are going to have an opportunity to ask live questions, and so first thing I want to do is just ask you: could you share this broadcast for us and get it out and share it to as many people as possible? Number one. And number two is, remember, this comment box is actually live. And so, hey, what I usually like to do first is I like to ask people just to give us a shout out, tell us where you're at right now. I know we always usually have people from all around the world, and I like to watch my comments over here on the screen in front of me and see who's actually watching the live broadcast. So, hey, if you're out there, give us a shout and let us know if you have any questions during the broadcast. But hey, today we're going to have three manufacturers, and it's really exciting. Three manufacturers, and we're going to talk about what they do, how they're being impacted by the current economic circumstances, and really what's their specialty and what way makes them unique in what they do. So, Dean, the first one we're starting out is with the ASCO Group, right?
That's correct. I had the pleasure of visiting their facility here not a short time ago, and actually producing a video for them, and they've got some really neat new technology.
Excellent. Well, let's bring them in. Let's bring in JC Hall from the ASCO Group, and let's get going. Hey, good morning, JC. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today, Mark?
Excellent. Thank you. JC, where are you located?
Well, I'm in my home office in the Seattle area, so not far from home.
Very good. Hey, listen, with the ASCO Group, JC, what do you do? And tell us what the ASCO company does.
Well, the ASCO Group provides metal finishing services, basically to whoever needs them. So our primary customers are the machine shops, sheet metal shops, etc., both around the Puget Sound and nationwide.
All right, well, good. Well, listen, we're going to dig into that a little bit deeper so we can kind of understand what it is that you do. So maybe the first thing we'll do is just take a look at, maybe some of the products and services that you have. But the ASCO, it's a group. So is it made up of more than one company? Are there multiple companies or what?
Yes, we actually have several companies around the Seattle area providing the individual services. We have ASCO Processing itself, which is the chemical processes and non-destructive test, shot peen, that kind of thing. And then we have Color Tech, which is located, you can think of it as the north side of Seattle, and that is where we do all of our painting and coatings applications. And then up in Mukilteo, just about a mile from the large Boeing plant, we have two companies in the same facility where we do selective plating, which is like what you do in the big tanks, except you can actually do it on the airplane, do small areas and so forth without big tanks. So it's great for repairs and that kind of processing. And we also, that's where we have our mechanical shop, ASCO Aviation Services, which does all of our grinding for our own needs and for outside folks, and does the up-and-coming process, which you see there on the right, which is high-velocity oxygenated fuel, which is a mouthful. You can say HVOF,
Yeah.
tungsten carbide.
Hey, JC, let me jump in and ask you a few questions about this, because I want to make sure I kind of understand, sort of the different things that you do. And at the beginning there, we put up a picture where you were doing some NDT testing there, I think. And so, let me make it clear. Is it you're a company that does remanufacturing, or you do original manufacturing, or what do you do?
We actually do both.
Oh, okay.
It's on customer parts. We don't own any parts ourselves. We're purely a service company, but we do production work for machine shops all over, as I was trying to say earlier. And also, we are an FAA repair station, both for chemical processing and the mechanical machining, bushings replacement, etc.
Hey, Dean, you've been to the facility, right?
Oh, absolutely. I've been to all three of them.
What do you think? What have you seen there?
Well, from to use a term, cradle to grave, these guys literally can help any metal manufacturer with any service that they're going to require, an after service after a product is formed or machined. Before it goes on an airplane, it has to be treated. So whether it's plating or anodizing or powder coating or painting or surfacing and then finishing the materials, they do a wonderful job. Very, very diverse company.
Yeah. Hey, I know we threw this picture up earlier, and JC, I have a maintenance and an engineering background. I've been involved in shops and things, and so it looks to me like they're doing NDT testing here, right?
Yes.
And so you have the capability to take parts and to clean, inspect, and test. And tell us a little bit about what you're doing here.
Well, it's one of the interesting things is the non-destructive test. You think of it as a process. There are multiple different tests that you can do, but sometimes, like on a steel landing gear part, it will go from process to test back to the next process, and then go for testing again. Sometimes it'll go through 5-6 rounds of non-destructive testing.
So you're doing different kinds. I see there. This is a dye fluorescent test here, but are you doing other tests like eddy current testing and things like that, or what else do you do?
We don't do eddy current, but we do, as you mentioned there, we do the fluorescent penetrant, which will detect surface cracks that are too small to see with your eye. We do magnetic particle inspection, which that actually we magnetize the part, and that can look down into the skin of the part short distance, detect underlying problems. And then there's also a test called nidal etch, which is a chemical etching that will tell us if a part's been over machined or you had a dull cutter when you were machining it and so forth. So we can tell whether or not the part's been compromised.
Yeah, now you're working on some pretty critical parts though as well. I saw from one of those previous ones there, you're doing some grinding, some precision grinding, and some surface recoating there. Well, tell us a little bit about what you're doing here.
Well, the picture on the left is a typical grind on a chrome part. On the right, you see what I was referring to, HVOF. That's the replacement for chrome plating, hard chrome, that all of the aerospace OEMs have decided on. It's essentially a blowtorch into which you inject powdered metal, tungsten carbide, and it's at such a velocity and pressure that it's basically like a jet exhaust. It's supersonic when it hits the part, and actually peens the surface a little bit as well as applying the coating. Then we have to grind it off, and because it's a carbide, that means it's as tough or tougher than the carbide wheels you normally use to grind. And we have to grind that with diamonds.
Okay, wow. Hey, listen, JC, one of the things I like to do is we do have a lot of people that watch from around the world, and I like to answer their questions as we go. And we have somebody here that said they wanted to know if you had any capabilities for thrust reversers of engine types and things like that. Do you have any QA capabilities for thrust reversers?
When you say QA capability, I'm not exactly sure what's meant, but we do work on the engine parts, the actuators, and so forth for thrust reversers. If you get into the composite thrust reversers, uh, really there we don't have a lot of capability. We're more oriented towards metals, except in the painting area.
Okay. All right. Well, so keep an eye out for the end, folks who are watching, and we'll provide some contact information where you can reach out to the ASCO group and ask them more detailed questions. But it's a great question. Thanks for submitting that. I appreciate that. We'll keep going now. So thanks. Hey, listen, I wanted to do a follow-up. In one of our earlier discussions you and I had, you said you not only do small parts, but you even do portable kind of resurfacing and things like that, right?
Yes, I think what we were talking about, and probably caught your eye there, was when I was talking about the selective plating. There are very few folks that do that in aerospace on a large basis, but we have we can go out, and we frequently go to the hangar and fix parts where the plating or has been scratched, or for example, somebody's had to do a minor repair and now they've got a bare area that needs to be plated. And Boeing and the other manufacturers have specs that allow that to be done. It's a very different philosophy, requires portable power supplies and solutions, so forth. But we've done stuff as big as we got into a non-aerospace where we plated the nearly 30-foot columns in the Kansas Senate chamber, because they had these old copper and silver clad columns that had been there for 100 years, and they were refurbishing and didn't know how to do that. And we sent a team on site for several weeks and redid their Senate chamber for them.
Yeah, that's really
Hey,
interesting.
JC, real quick, JC, you mentioned to me the other day about a unique part that you did for 787.
Oh yeah, that goes into our HVOF and grind capability. We think we were the first here a few weeks ago to overhaul a 787 axle, because the 787s are just coming into their major check cycle, the first ones. And a company in China sent us an 87 axle, and we shot it with the HVOF, built it up, and then ground it back down to original specs. And they just received it back in China 2 days ago.
Oh, great. So, hey, that brings up a little point. Thanks for bringing that up, Dean. So you're not just doing work locally here in the Puget Sound kind of area.
No, it's interesting because ASCO's been around 53 years now, I believe. And Mr. Kelly, who's our owner, has done a great job of anticipating and looking forward. But the emphasis has always been on the processing and the quality, and was never really a sales outside the area orientation. And that's one of the reasons I was brought on board, to try and expand that. And we're now getting customers. This week I've talked to Canada, the Connecticut, Alabama, Texas. So the wide range of services that we have are attracting a lot of interest from all over the country.
Okay, well, good. Hey, I see we have some finished parts here. What kind of parts are we looking at here in this picture?
I'm not 100% sure I can disclose that. So I'm going
to. All right. Okay. Well, we got it off of your website. It looked like they were landing gear parts or axles or things like that. So
they look like either landing gear or heavy hydraulics, but
got it. Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. That's fine. Well, anyway, the point is that your capabilities extend quite broad, and they're worldwide, and it's really, pretty amazing. Hey, I wanted to move to the next segment of our discussion. With the changes in the economy right now, some sectors have gone up, and we know that maintenance has gone down in some of the major aircraft and the carriers. The air carriers. How has that affected your business? And are you making any changes in what you're doing as a result of that?
Well, it's obviously, as production goes down at the machine shops, our business goes down. But we've seen the repair business stay fairly stable. we're somewhat protected from the general industry situation because we tend to be what I refer to as a hard metal shop. The people who do aluminum structures as their primary business, that's very high volume, and it has totally dropped off because of the 737. Our
Okay.
work tends to be concentrated in the harder metals, the steels and titaniums. That has held up better, and those are the parts that you can repair and rebuild. And so I won't say that we're protected, but we're feeling the pain less than others.
Okay.
Hey,
Well,
JC, when I shot the video there with you folks, you have a brand new line that you've just implemented that is unique. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, in the finishing world, everybody likes to use cadmium plating. That's been the standard for everything from screws and bolts to large aircraft structures. But because of environmental regulations, cadmium plating is going away. It's as a heavy metal, it's dangerous to the workers. And so Boeing and Airbus have decided on a process called zinc nickel to replace that. They've been working on it since the mid 1980s and finally are approving people. And they came out with a new version that is for high heat treat, very strong steels. And that's the new line that you saw, is to handle zinc nickel. And we're one of the first couple of companies to be approved to that. So we'll be able to do all versions of zinc nickel here in the next couple of months.
And is that more environmentally friendly? Is that why they're switching to that?
Yes. Nickel is still not the best thing in the world for the human body, but it's far, far better than cadmium. And
Okay.
so your workers are much better protected. And unless you're chewing on an aircraft part, you probably aren't going to have a problem with the nickel.
All right. Okay. Good. Let's not chew on the aircraft parts. That's good. Right, okay. Hey, listen, we just got a couple of minutes left. And before I go to my next group of questions, I wanted to tell the viewers out there, if you have any more questions, go ahead and put them in the comment box, for ASCO. And, we can always reach back out to you afterwards. But hey, Dean, just as a little follow up here, you said you did a video recently for them. Maybe we could just post that in the comments so people could see some of that new, process or something like that. Okay.
Absolutely. I'll post that, and it reaches out to all the different divisions of the company, including the last process that JC mentioned.
Very good. Very good. Hey, listen, JC, where do you think the future is going with your company in the industry right now? Are you shifting to other parts of the industry? Are you trying to grow in certain areas? What's really happening? Given what's happening in the world right now, where's your business going right now at this point?
Well, for us, our basic business focus is going to remain on finishing, but we are really trying to expand our repair offerings and especially our marketing of those capabilities. Also, what we're seeing is the shift from chrome and cadmium to HVOF and to zinc nickel is going to keep us very busy. One of the things is the old processes don't go away because you still have airplanes flying for the next 40 years that still require those old processes. So you just have to keep investing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the fact that you're a worldwide company presents a lot of opportunities for you, because I know that different parts of the economy, different parts of the world have different growth rates. Like things are recovering a little faster in the Asia Pacific region. And you said you just shipped some work, to China or to Hong Kong in that region for the 787. And so I wanted to tell people that are out there watching right now is, sounds like you guys have a pretty worldwide reach and you have a lot of capabilities. And hey, it sounds like people, have an opportunity to be able to reach out to you from anywhere around the world is what it really looks like.
Yes, and that's kind of fostered by the fact that in many parts of the world and in different parts of the U.S., people grew up doing one set of processes. You'll have a non-destructive test house, you'll have a plating house, you'll have a grinding house. Here on the West Coast, we tended to grow up as one-stop shops because we are spread out so far. So we have the capability, and it improves your lead times because you're not going into the queue at each shop. It improves the processing so that you can send a part to us and we can do everything that's needed to be done.
Great. Hey, listen, so as we kind of wrap up this first segment, first third of our interview today, I wanted to remind all of you that if you want to reach out to JC Hall, it's Hall, you can reach him on this email address here, which is jc@theascogroup.com. And can they also reach you on LinkedIn or go to your website?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn, and the website, which just got updated, is ascogroup.com.
Excellent. All right. Okay. Hey, listen, it was really great talking to you today. And I see we have a few more comments and things. So I wanted to encourage anyone out there who had more questions is to reach out directly to JC at that email address that we put up there. And I just wanted to thank you for being part of the interview today. And I really appreciate all the work you guys are doing and leaning forward into recovery in the industry. Thank you, JC.
You bet. Thanks a lot.
Take care, JC.
All right.
Take care, Dean.
Dean, we have that was a great interview. Really good to learn about what's happening in the Pacific Northwest here, and I'm looking forward to finding out more about their success. Our next interview is with a company called Aritext, and we're going to bring them in just a second. Hey, Dean, we're back already that fast, and we're bringing in Carlos Mendez with Aritext. Welcome, Carlos.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, very
How
good.
are you?
Yeah. Hey, Carlos, I'm going to put you on pause for 1 second, and we're going to run a quick video about your company because I think people are going to want to know what you do, and then I'm going to jump back in. So let's just run that quick video about your company.
Okay.
Hey, Carlos, that was a great video. I love to watch airplanes being built. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But Carlos, tell us who Aritext is. Who are you, and what do you do?
Okay. Well, we are a company born in Barcelona a lot of years ago, and we do basically production lines for automotive and for aeronautics, but also small cells for production parts.
Okay. Well, let me just ask you this: do you build airplanes?
No, we do the machinery to build the airplanes. So, for
I know
example,
you don't build airplanes, but I know our viewers looked at that video and they said, do they build Embraer or do they build Boeings or Airbuses? And no, what you do is you make it possible for companies to build airplanes, right?
That's what we do. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. That's fantastic. And I'm really excited to show the people that are watching here today just a little bit about your company. You said you originated in Spain, is that correct?
Yes, in Barcelona, 1961, so some years ago. So I was not there, as you can imagine.
Unfortunately, I was alive at that time.
I was not even an idea then.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what you do. So here's a picture of a Boeing part. And so what are we looking at here right now?
Okay, this is a gantry around 100 feet long. This is for producing stringers for the 777X. So we do the shape of the stringer, we move it, and we position, okay? So it's for moving the parts of carbon fiber. So there are several stringers, so we have to adapt to them.
Okay, did you say it's for a 777? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're making stringers for 777s. Now, you don't make the stringers, you make the machinery that allows Boeing to manufacture the stringers. Is that correct?
That's right. We manufacture what you see on the screen. We do and design the machinery to manufacture the stringers.
Okay, excellent. That's really amazing. So the next picture here, we're looking at some Airbus aircraft being manufactured. Talk to us a little bit what we're looking at right here.
Okay, on the left, you have this is the wing of the A350, so a wing again, also quite long,
Yeah.
so around 100 feet also. So you are seeing a robotic cell for automatic measurement. Okay, so we design this turning device because you can have left and right. And well, you see a cooker robot there. We have a lot of technology for measuring. So we scan all the surface, we process the data, and then we deliver the quality report to Airbus. Okay. On the right, you see in the upper, we have also technology for drilling. So we have one technology that it's called Tricep, and this one is ADH that is based on FANUC robots that is for drilling. So here we are joining two parts of the fuselage with these robots. And what you can see in the lower one is the production line of the HTP of the A350, because we do machines, but we do production lines also. So here you can see that it's quite huge. Okay.
Wow, it really is. I mean, if you look at the size of the machinery that you produce, it's really just pretty amazing. You said that A350 wing is over 100 feet long. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, that's amazing, because that means that you're creating machinery which has the ability to create precision manufacturing in such large, assemblies. It's just amazing that you can maintain, those kind of tolerances and manufacturing. It's just it really is interesting to me about what you're really doing.
Yeah, it's challenging. So aerospace, you have big parts, but you have great tolerances that you have to achieve. So, well, this is what we do.
Well, no, looks like you're doing good job of doing that. Yeah. And then I think we had one third graphic, which was kind of interesting. And I believe that focused on work you were doing down in South America, in Brazil.
Yes, so we are a worldwide company. So beside the site in Barcelona, in Spain, we have in Pamplona, in US, in Mexico, but also in Brazil. Okay, so we are located in San Jose dos Campos. So here, what you can see, the FANUC robots is a production cell, flexible, completely digital, where we take the information from the drawings on a server, and we position the parts and we drill the parts. So it's a small manufacturing cell. And what you see in the lower one is an AGV with a best fit hole-to-hole for the wing, so wing to body. That is the video that we saw before, that we designed it and manufactured in Spain, and we integrated it in with the team of Brazil. Okay.
Yeah. So Carlos, you manufacture the large cell manufacturing capabilities, but you also have pivoted to be able to address the current situation. I think you guys do a cobot UVC light piece of equipment that kind of answers today's issues in the commercial aircraft interior.
So that's a new development that we are just completing now. So we have just launched it. So it's just for cleaning surfaces. So now we are living the moment that we live. So aerospace is how it is. So we have to look for new ways to do business, but also it's challenging to try to help the society in some way. So we were trying to think what we can do to take profit of the situation, but to help also to not only in aerospace, in other parts. So what you see on the left will be a waiting room. So in any place, no? So we are trying to think new products and new solutions for the current times also.
Yeah, just so that people that are watching understand what we're looking at. I saw a video of this. Now, do you actually manufacture that robot with the UV light on it?
Yes, well, the robot, we are integrating different things. So the UV, the robot is a universal robot, so it has a small AGV. So we are doing all the integration, the mapping of the area, and the control of the process, and the integration of the three main components. That will be the AGV, the UR robot, and the UV light.
Excellent. No, Dean, you're right. It's important that when we're, in the industry, that we're increasing our product lines so that we can adapt to, where the needs are in the industry. So Carlos, you guys have done a great job of coming up with new products that were based on the needs of the industry. That's great.
Yeah. No, and I think why I think also that the knowledge that we have in aerospace can be used in other industries, in energy, in buildings, housing, but also, well, health. So I think we have to focus in that. So we are in a year that it's quite challenging. So so from March, everything is changing a little bit, but I think we were quite focused in aerospace, but we have a lot of technologies that can be used in other markets. So I think we all do have to do that.
Yeah, very good. Hey, before I go on to my next section, I just wanted to say is I've had the pleasure of having visited, the manufacturing facilities in Toulouse, and I've had the pleasure of being able to work for Boeing and to see facilities in Everett and Renton. And I've been down to San Jose dos Campos, and I've seen manufacturing facilities, for Embraer, down in Brazil. And, these are I also worked for McDonnell Douglas in St. Louis on military aircraft. And so I've seen manufacturing facilities all over the world. And this is so very impressive because you have taken a process which in history was very manual and drilling, and it was not always repeated in a consistent manner. And you've created machinery which can allow those aircraft to be manufactured in a very consistent, high quality manner. I just think that's really impressive, Carlos.
Well, we came from, originally, we were in a small workshop, so it moved to automotive. We started doing body in white for automotive. And with the A380, Airbus asked us to integrate all this automation for manufacturing aerospace. No? So from this moment, we were taking this experience from automotive, and we have always tried to do this process as reliable as they are in automotive. Okay, so it's something that I think several players were trying to do in the last years.
So, Mark, just a reference to Northwest Aerospace News Magazine has a feature article on Aerotex in our current issue. So if people go to northwestaerospacenews.com, they can pull up the magazine and read more information on Aerotex and all of the neat things that they're doing today.
Oh, fantastic. Dean, just a quick little comment about that. Tell us what you do, because I want people to know how they can learn more about manufacturers. And one of the things you do is you do articles and provide information. So can you tell the listeners a little bit about what you do and how you partner with manufacturers?
You bet. Really quickly, I have a 30-year background in commercial aerospace manufacturing, and I left manufacturing to begin a publication that I saw a need for, which is Northwest Aerospace News Magazine. And our feature, we're not a scoop type product. We really want to feature all of the capabilities of the manufacturers in the aerospace industry. They're innovative, hardworking companies that have, like you're talking about, have pivoted or have developed and researched capabilities that 10 years ago were unthinkable. And so we're real excited to share the news about the manufacturing companies and the people that support them in Northwest Aerospace News Magazine. And we are worldwide as well, both in print and digital.
All right. Well, thanks for that, Dean, because I think it's really important. That's one of the reasons that we're doing this broadcast, is so people can help learn about companies and what they do. And hey, Carlos, one of the things that I see you doing is you've applied innovative technology that is coming from the automotive industry into the aerospace industry. Would you consider your company to be, innovative? What do you do to create innovation in your company?
Well, nowadays, the more thing, the thing that is, I think, a focus for all of us is digital. Okay, so we are coming to a moment that is not only to manufacture, is to have the safety and to have all the quality reports, all the data recorded. So we are moving more to that. That is an experience also from automotive. So this is what we are trying to do.
And I see that you're obviously able to help companies to increase their production rates and to be able to get products out, higher quality, higher volumes, lower cost, right?
Yes, it's like that. You need a good quality. If you have a good quality, you can increase the rate, and you need lines and production lines and machines that are reliable to do that. So that's a focus that if you don't have that, you cannot have the objective. So.
Yeah, Carlos, really is Aerotex involved in some of the new growing marketplace, like new space technology or UAS, UAV systems?
Well, in UAV, we have a small project for installation, so we are starting. So not for the moment bringing new technologies, but at least to get the relations and to start doing some work. No, so sometimes you have to start with the small projects and then move to the big ones. But yes, in California we're doing a small project about that.
Yeah. Hey, Carlos, we have a few questions that have come. Well, not really questions, but just a couple of comments from people that I wanted to put up. I always think it's fun because we do have people that watch us, from Brazil, and people probably saw the Embraer and they like watching from all over the world. So we have people down in Brazil. But there's another person that asked a question is that they wanted to know if Aritex is a publicly traded company. They think you probably have something interesting. Is it Aritex public or are they a private company?
It's a private company.
Okay. So I can't go out and I can't invest in the company.
Well, I don't know exactly, but probably yes. You can invest in everything. So it's just to talk with the owners.
Okay. Bring your checkbook.
Nowadays, to see somebody investing in aerospace companies. So
yeah, but nice, how I interpret that though is that people find it interesting. When people see what you're doing is very interesting, and that it's growing and it's innovative, and you're working in all those places. Yeah. First thing people think is, hey, I should get to know that company and I should maybe invest in them or use them to do business. And so I think that tells us that the audience is interested in what you're doing. Yeah.
And it's nice to hear.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Yeah. Hey, Carlos, where do you see the company going next? Where's the future for you with the changes in the economy right now? What are you going to do to be able to move forward right now with the changes in our world?
Okay. One thing is clear, if we talk about aerospace, so it's not clear what is going to happen in the next years, but obviously it seems that we are not going to have big production lines for the moment. So we are pivoting more to smaller projects, more robotics, more automation, more focus in quality and things like that. But also we have to focus on other sectors. No? So now we are starting to have works for GE in energy. We are looking also in housing. So other industries that all the technology that we have in robotics and production and experience can be used. No, one day we did this pivot from automotive to aeronautics, so why not to do it to other sectors? So that's what we are trying to do nowadays.
Yeah, very good. I think it's really important that we evaluate what's happening in other industries to be diversified and to make adjustments. Hey, have the changes in production rates affected you, in the company?
Yeah. Sure. I would like to see somebody saying not. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. At the beginning, it was more a matter of planning, so nobody knew what was going to be happening in April. So we first got the request to delay plannings, to restudy rates, or help financially, so not to be paid in 2020, talking clearly. So from this big starting point, that it was a little bit to postpone the projects and to help the customers and try to find ways. Now we are seeing more, how we can work together, how we can do something that, as I don't know what is going to be in the future, that it's flexible, that you can deliver a robotic line, for example, that I can increase the rate in the future. Okay, so more flexibility on the solutions.
Hey, Carlos, I didn't ask this of JC in our first call, but I wanted to ask you is, I know there's a lot of people out there that are in industries that are going down, and there's a lot of people that have actually lost their jobs. There's people that are doing well and people that are looking for work. Do you have any employment opportunities in the company for people today?
Well, for the moment, it's quite challenging. So it's not that we are not contracting anyone. So there was a couple of contract person coming to the company, but it's not a strategy for the next months until everything is clear.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that if people are interested in examining a great company in the future, both to contract with, to do work, but maybe to work for, or to consider using your services in adjacent industries, boy, you got a lot of really interesting things. I mean, anytime I see somebody building airplanes, I like that. Okay. It's good. Yeah, it's really good. Hey, listen, if people have other questions and they want to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach out to you and get in touch with you?
They can do through the mail, they can do by LinkedIn, they can use also the webs where in the web we have some contacts. So whatever they feel more comfortable. So they can do it directly to me or to the company.
Okay, well, good. Well, so here we have a company email for commercial at aritex-us.com. People can reach out there, or you can feel free to reach out to Carlos on his LinkedIn, directly. It's Carlos Mendez on LinkedIn, so you can look him up and connect with him and start a conversation. Hey, listen, one of the things that I do for all of you out there are trying to figure out how to grow your business, is I try to create new connections. And it's not always about, I'm going to go to Carlos and try and sell him something or get him to sell me something. All right. I just want to connect with people and have connections in business. And so if you want to get to know somebody and have a conversation with somebody about a great company, reach out to Carlos and start a conversation with them and see if maybe, something will happen in the future. It sounds like a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel free to do that.
Very, very good.
And thank you for the work you're doing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, Carlos, I wanted to thank you for being on this interview today. And for those of you that are watching, keep an eye on this company. I think they got a lot of interesting things going on. Thanks for joining us today, Carlos.
Thank you.
Bye. Hey, Dean, thanks for bringing Aritext, into this. I think you've also done some video work for them too, haven't you?
Actually, no, not for Aritex, but boy, that is the new way of communicating your business today. And so we do find ourselves doing a lot of commercial video for companies in the aerospace industry. But no, they have some amazing video that I would be proud to say I produced, but it wasn't me.
Okay, well, good. Well, hey, listen, let's wrap up this interview and we're going to go into our next segment. So thanks a lot. Hey, Dean, we're back with our next segment, and we're going to focus on another really interesting company that's doing some great things. And the name of the company is called Sekisui Aerospace. And let's go ahead and bring in our guest for this section, and it's Matea Osoynik. How are you?
Good. How are you, Mark? Nice pronunciation of my last name. I appreciate it.
Well, anytime we have something that's not in our normal vocabulary, we always have to struggle, I guess. But hey, Matea, thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Hey, Matea, what do you do, and who is Sekisui Aerospace?
Sure. So, yes, I'm a senior director of technology at Sekisui Aerospace, and Sekisui Aerospace is a composite manufacturer that focuses mostly on commercial aerospace, or has focused on commercial aerospace. And I'm hoping today we can talk a little bit about how we're pivoting that strategy. We're part of Sekisui Chemical Group, which is a multi-billion-dollar organization with 200 companies across the world, 23,000 employees, and with headquarters in Japan, so Tokyo. And we're their latest acquisition, and are very, very happy and excited to be part of the Sekisui family.
Oh, fantastic. So Sekisui Aerospace is just one of 200 companies.
Correct, yes.
That's impressive. That's really amazing. Well, hey, let's start out by talking a little bit about what this division of Sekisui does, because I think people would be interested in what some of the products are. Is kind of a starting point. So, as part of a bigger group, you have a Sekisui Aerospace group, and can you tell us a little bit about some of these parts that we're looking at and what they produce?
Absolutely. So, on Sekisui Aerospace level, so we are about 1,000 employees. We have 4 centers of excellence. 3 of them located in Washington State and 1 in state of Iowa. And what we focus on are several things. What we're looking at today is our engines and nacelle. We're also building secondary structures, UAVs, interior components, and ducting that are spread across those 4 centers of excellence.
Okay, great. And so, most of the people that watch our broadcasts, are in aviation. Not everybody, though. A lot of people are supporting industries. And so not everybody might know exactly what it is that we're talking about. But we're looking at the engine there on the left, and the parts that are around the outside, the protective parts, are nacelles. And so those are the kind of components that you produce for engines, correct? That's one of the produce.
Yeah, absolutely. So to give you an example, on the nacelle, we're building products like engine chines, beaver tail, right? And we do that for various customers. Today we support Boeing, Spirit, Collins, GKN, KHI, GE, right? All the big giants in the commercial aerospace business.
That's really great. And then there's a few other products that I think we had a couple of pictures of that you were involved in producing. And you said that some of them were ducting and things like that. But what are we looking at here right now?
Yeah, so those are, on the left, we have our interior component, right? An example of interior component, and also our ECS ducting. So our Renton facility is what we call our interior center of excellence. And it's also a place where our innovation lab is located, which, Mark, something I would love to talk to you about a little bit more.
Yeah.
Our Sumner facility is really focused on the ECS ducting and some secondary structures such as packboards.
Okay, well, good. So I wanted to just start out by letting people know a little bit about, just to orient them a little bit about the products that you produce, and that's great. And I didn't realize that Sekisui was such a large company, a multi-billion-dollar company with 200 companies. That's really pretty amazing. Do you feel like you get lost in the middle of that as one piece of a bigger machine, or not?
No, not at all. Sekisui Aerospace is actually a very important strategic addition to the Sekisui family, right? We are the first aerospace acquisition and a kind of an opening for Sekisui Chemical into the aerospace market. I think there is so much advantages to be part of such a large group, because then we're not only focused on the small portion of what we do, but also have an ability to connect with the broader industries, right? As an example, we support urban infrastructure, housing, right? We support automotive. We develop advanced materials, and then we have aerospace as well. So having that broader capability really gives us a big advantage.
That's great. Hey, I was introduced to you by Dean. Dean, how did you come to know Sekisui, the company?
Well, actually, I've known Sekisui as for, oh my gosh, 30 years. They started out as AIM Aerospace in the Seattle area and then became AIM Aviation. Sekisui recently purchased AIM Aviation, but Sekisui is a raw material supplier, and so they've been a customer of mine for 30 years as well. So or a supplier, I should say, not a customer. So it's been a long, eventful history with the current company, and it's great to see them so well financed and supported by Sekisui. I think that's a wonderful acquisition. I think it'll do well.
Great.
Dean, don't mean to correct you. Just a very important distinction. It's actually AIM Aerospace that Sekisui purchased, because there's AIM Aviation in UK, which we used to get very mixed too often. So that's why I'm bringing it up.
Yep.
Great. Good. Hey, Matej, I want to bring something up. You mentioned about your innovation lab. Now, I saw a video that looks like it was just published just a few days or maybe a month ago about an innovation lab. What does that have to do with your company, and what's going on in this innovation lab that you have?
Mark, Innovation Lab is my favorite place in the world. It's a place where I can spend all of my time. And my team always gives me a hard time, says that I'm a dreamer, right? But I really do feel and believe that Innovation Lab is a place within Sekisui Aerospace, like I said, located in our Renton facility, where all the innovators, creators, engineers come together and want to create something that is going to change not just our industry, but again, a dream or change the world.
What kind of products or ideas have come out of that think tank, out of that innovation lab?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the things, so our team, maybe I should start by sharing, our team consists of several functions. So we have our automation group, we have our research and development, so the team who is focused on product and material development. We have an Industry 4.0, which is focused on digitization, and our information technology. And as an example, the automation group has developed our facility and robotic line in our Orange City location, which they manufactures 787 secondary brackets out of chopped fiber thermoplastics.
So if I were to ask you, what's the main, I know innovation, the word in itself, just makes sense. You say, what is innovation? But what is the main purpose for having an innovation lab? What are you hoping will happen by having an innovation lab in your company?
Yeah, so it's that again, another great question. So with an innovation lab, what we want to break the boundaries, right? I think today very often, and Dean, I believe you posted it on LinkedIn. It's something that our CEO Daniela Cagnitel says very often, and it's one of my favorite quotes in the world. He says that in the last 20 years, the only thing that has changed in the aerospace industry is a version of Microsoft that we use, right? So one of the things that Innovation Lab is here to do is break those boundaries and change that paradigm, right? What we want to do is change the way how we are operating and doing business today, and move into a digital era.
Matea, I've seen some posts and things that your company has put out, which basically says that you're very focused on things like digital transformation. If I were to ask you, is it, how does digital transformation, how is it affecting your company, or why are you focusing on it? What does that really mean to you today?
Yeah, so and maybe before I go there, Mark, I do want to bring up there is a piece of digital transformation and there's a piece of product development too. So it would be very interesting to talk about that.
Okay.
But when it comes to digital transformation for us, it's both supporting and changing the way our internal and our external customers function. So in terms of the internal customers, we support our operational sites. And in terms of course, our external customers, we work, like we mentioned, I work with Boeing and we work with Boeing, Spirit, GKN. And what we want to do, focused on the external customers, is how do we go in and change their experience, right? Because the experience that a customer has with aerospace companies has not really evolved and has not changed. So that's really our focus when it comes to digital transformation. And then the second piece is we absolutely want to change the way we operate our business today. So I'll stop there because I know that's a lot. So
No, that's okay, because what you said is you said two things. You're trying to apply digital to the process of manufacturing or the things that you do. You're trying to use that to be able to create a better, faster, higher quality, lower cost, kind of a product. But you're also saying you're using digital to transform the way your company conducts business. What you're telling me, right?
Absolutely, okay. Yes, absolutely. As an example, Mark, this, especially in today's economic environment, right? It's now more important than ever to really look at how do we operate our business, right? We are trying to, this year, especially and next year, we want to create that foundation for a future digital revolution. And what that means is, as an example, one of the big initiatives that we have this year, we're implementing RFID across all our facilities. But an RFID is, if we think small, an RFID is just a part tracking tool, but that's not what we're doing, right? I always tell my team, think big. So one of the things that we are doing is RFID is our foundation. And from it, we want to create a way for our general managers to identify bottlenecks, to improve their flow of parts, right? To reduce takt times. But then at the same time, use it to provide data to our customers on more frequent, right? And that's where it really becomes interesting.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an offshoot of a discussion, because I actually like that, because I've seen RFID struggle, in aerospace, for many years. And, we look at other industries like retail or things like that, and RFID has just become a normal part of the process, right? Now, how did you change the thinking or the way that you approached that and applied something which was really very stable technology to something that basically the entire aerospace industry was pretty much rejecting? How are you applying that to be something that can be successful?
That's a fantastic question, because for me, what it really is connected with is also the culture. And it's not just a culture within the aerospace, but it's a culture within the business. And I'll go back to, it is all about, we need to embrace the change, and we need to embrace the fact that we have to change the way we operate and do our business if we're going to move forward, right? Aerospace industry has been a little bit stuck, right? And how do we unstuck it is by making everybody feel a little bit uncomfortable, while at the same time making sure that people around us within our business understand that we are creating this environment to make everybody's jobs easier, right? And also, people always cringe when you say automation, right? Because the first thing they think, oh goodness, am I going to be replaced by a robot, right? It's never about that. It's about, and it's the same thing with digital transformation. It's about, how do you get data to run your business? How do you deploy your people to do more value-added work versus mundane tasks that could be done by existing systems, right? So yeah, I would say, Mark, that's my continued struggle, but it is definitely a beautiful journey that we're embarking on.
Yeah, I think you said we're a little bit stuck. I think I would say we're a lot stuck. Okay, yeah.
Fair.
Because I have to tell you that I traveled probably 480,000 miles last year, and I've seen I've seen facilities, airlines, MROs, OEMs all around the world. And, I can tell you from my own personal firsthand experience that, 80 to 90% of the people out there still use old, outdated systems and processes and paper. And so I really appreciate, your company's focus and emphasis on putting in advanced technology and digital transformation, because that really is the only way we're going to achieve the kind of efficiencies that we really need in moving forward.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you a follow-up question: is that how are you able to? Is your RFID system fully implemented at this point, or are you in the process of doing it? Or
No, we're in the process of doing it.
okay, well, I'll just say that I've seen companies implement RFID systems and to be able to dramatically impact the amount of data that they're able to acquire and turn that into information, which then becomes used to manage the processes better and to focus on quality and to be able to shorten cycle times. And so, I'm certain that's why you've made the decision to do that, is you're going to transform your business through the application of that technology in your manufacturing process. Yeah.
Absolutely, Mark. But for me, I think I mentioned it's just a foundation. If I were to imagine the Sekisui of the future, I want to have, we want to have a and coming to work, right? Coming to their workstation in production. Suddenly you have a material showing up. You have a tablet there that has your training materials, right? Every part has an RFID. If there was a quality issue, it gets pulled up on your tablet. What is that quality issue? Then after a layup, you put your part in the oven. You track everything that is happening with that part throughout the process in ovens, autoclaves. So you start creating this digital environment where you have this tremendous amount of data that you get to process as a business leader and make more proactive decisions, right? And so it becomes about two things. It becomes about creating the foundation and building off of it. And then while at the same time, maintaining that data integrity, right? And making sure that all these massive amounts of data that suddenly gets fed into the system, that there is data integrity and you can trust it. So that's a big challenge for myself and my team.
Yeah, if we can
So,
turn
Matea, I think I've seen that mindset across all of the Sekisui divisions, that continuous improvement and seeking new ways and better ways to do business is somewhat of that 200 companies. That's their corporate mindset.
Absolutely, Dean. Yes. I mean, Kaizen is at the core of everything that we do. And continuous improvement is a huge piece of our ongoing and day-to-day culture, right? What we want to do is, I always say innovation and continuous improvement are it's connected, and innovation comes from anywhere. Just recently, we've deployed a company-wide first innovation competition with the premise that really innovation comes from everybody, and everybody's an innovator, be that in products, material, process improvements. And very often we forget that. We think that innovation comes from a group of 20, 30 engineers that need to figure out what the company is going to do next. We're breaking those boundaries as a team and are saying, everybody within the company needs to innovate and does innovate on a daily basis.
Great perspective. Great. Yeah. Hey, Matea, you said earlier on you kind of were pulling us back into talk a little bit about products a little bit when we moved off into digital transformation. I wanted to see if you had anything else you wanted to add to the product innovation or the product development thoughts that you had.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So there is a piece, what my team is focused on, there is a piece of the digital transformation and automation, which is such a huge focus for our team in the next 3 years, especially with everything that's going on in the industry. But definitely another important piece is the product development and product evolution, right? Our organization has done some tremendous work in chopped fiber thermoplastics, right? So I think I mentioned today, we deliver a lot of product to Boeing made out of that material. We're one of the rare companies that are BSC 1590 approved, and we're continuing to build off of that innovation and continuing to partner with our customers to really understand how does the shift in market and what is really happening on the market impacted that product development roadmap. So we're in the midst of that. So I'm having a lot of fun, guys.
Well, listen, Matea, since you're really into innovation, I'm going to ask you this question. What really excites you the most about the future of Sekisui?
Wow, that's a fantastic question. I think few things. Sekisui is one of the companies that I've worked with a lot of companies, and Sekisui is one of the companies that at its core has its people, right? Which is, a lot of companies say that, but not a lot of companies act that way, right? And we do, we really do. We put our people at the core. So when it comes to the future, what I'm really excited about is seeing how our strategy from a technology perspective, as well as our strategy to grow, it really interacts with that people factor, right? And how do we grow our people, and how are we going to grow our company? I think there is so much opportunities. And I believe that with the focus that we're putting in today in digital transformation is going to change the way we do business. And I'm really excited to see that.
Very good, very good. I want to add one thing is that, I very much believe in digital transformation. And, through my discussions with people over the years, we've decided in my own mind that there's 4 different pillars of it. And one of it, number 1, starts in just believing that you can do it. But the number 2 one right behind that is people, okay? People and their contribution and the knowledge, and using that together to be able to examine processes and apply technology, in my mind, equals the 4 pillars of digital transformation. And so to hear you say that, obviously you believe, okay, you do, but hearing you say that people become one of the core pillars of that, that's really important to me, because people think digital transformation, they think, oh, implement new technology. When I think digital transformation, I think commit to it, engage the people, look at what your business needs to do, and apply technology. And that's digital transformation. And it's exciting to see companies like yours, that are leaning into it and doing that. It's really great.
Absolutely, because you're absolutely right, right? The technology piece is just one little aspect of it. But it's a massive cultural change. It's a massive cultural change in how we think, how everybody within our organization thinks, how this 1,000 people that come to work every day thinks and perceives the world around them when they're interacting with the parts that we're building, or interacting with our customers, right? Anything from how do we put in a purchase order, right, to how does that order flow through our system, goes through the office, right? Is it a paper? Is it not? Is it digital, right? Am I clicking 30 times, or am I just clicking once, right? How does that whole process look like from the moment the order comes in all the way through the delivery? And people are a key in making that successful.
Yeah. Well, definitely with enthusiasm and a great team, you guys are going to accomplish a lot of great things in the future. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Matea.
I wanted to thank you for being on our recovery and aviation focused, broadcast. And we have, since the beginning of the year, tried to focus on, how can we collectively together as an industry put energy into and lean forward into recovery and aviation. And I really believe that it's great companies like Sekisui and Sekisui Aerospace, that are leaning into the recovery and creating growth. That it's important that we work together to do that. If people want to engage with you and get more information, what's the best way to do that? Is it through your email address or through LinkedIn, or?
Yeah, both LinkedIn and my email address works. Absolutely.
Okay.
Feel free to reach out. We are, as a technology team, one of our goals as well is to connect with the industry and really understand how we can leverage those capabilities across the board, be that with engagement with startups, specifically on the technology side, our customers, suppliers, right? So I would love to hear from all of you that are watching today.
Great. Hey, listen, if you guys have additional questions out there, reach out to Matea Osoynik with Sekisui Aerospace, Director of Technology. And I just really want to thank you, and innovation. I want to thank you so much for being on the broadcast today. It was really insightful. And one of the things I really like is just to see the enthusiasm of companies that are out there. And thank you for putting that energy into the industry. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Matea.
Okay. Yep. Hey, Dean, I wanted to thank you so much for arranging these 3 companies, to come together in this interview today. It's great to see the energy that's out there and the things that people are doing and how people are adapting and, just moving forward in the industry right now.
Yeah, I've an overused phrase that I use is that sometimes we don't inflict change when we should. We inflict change when we have to. And I think that's what we're seeing in the market today is these companies, they have to. and it's amazing to see how things are growing and how the mindset is changing so quickly.
Yeah, very good. Well, listen, Dean, thanks for joining me today and for arranging these guests for us. And I'm going to sign off, and I want to thank all of you for joining us on this broadcast. You can continue to watch our broadcasts here on a regular basis. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, but if you just do a search in your Google search engine and say #digital aircraft, you'll see all the different things that we do on YouTube and on LinkedIn and all the different channels. But watch for our LinkedIn broadcasts on a regular basis. I think you'll find them informative and interesting. It'll help you create networks and connections with other people. And together, we're going to create recovery in the industry. I want to sign off now the way I always do and just say fair winds and following seas to you all. And thank you for joining us today. Thanks, Dean.
Thank you, Mark. Have a good day.
Okay, yeah, bye now.